your English 1 class. In the previous class we had started the story Gogol's First Day, and we had completed page 24, 26 to 28, para 21, and today we will complete this story. So in the previous class we have seen how the main character, that is Gogol, deals with the idea that he will be called by another name in school according to his parents' wish. And we had also seen that he does not seem to be happy about it because he is used to being called Gogol. So today we will resume from para 21. So in para 21, Mrs. Lapidus, the principal of Gogol's school, after she had attempted to get Gogol to talk to her, to respond to her questions, which he refused to because he was unhappy with his parents, because they were trying to get him to accept that he will be called Nikhil. His good name will be Nikhil. She says, as we can see in para 21, she addresses Gogol's father, whose name is Ashok, and says she does not respond. He does not respond to the name Nikhil. So I think there must be something that we can do about it. But we see in para 22, and I will just read through from para 22 onwards what happens after that. So the father, Ashok, requests the principal and tells her, "Please, Mrs. Lapidus, it is very common for a child to be confused at first. I assure you, he will grow accustomed." So the father tries to make Mrs. Lapidus, the principal, understand that it is something that will be taken care of in a matter of time. He tells Mrs. Lapidus that Gogol will get used to his new name Nikhil. Para 23, he bends down and this time in Bengali, calmly and quietly asks Gogol to please answer when Mrs. Lapidus asks a question. "Don't be scared, Gogol," he says, raising his son's chin with his finger. "You're a big boy now." So he tries to convince him. The father, Ashok, tries to convince Gogol not to be scared to accept his new name, and also to respond to Mrs. Lapidus when she asks him a question. And he does it in Bengali. Para 24. Though Mrs. Lapidus does not understand a word, she listens carefully and hears that name again. Now remember that Ashok is talking to Gogol in Bengali, but she caught the name that Ashok calls him, Gogol. Lightly in pencil, she writes it down on the registration form, the form that they had to fill up when they came to the office. Para 25, Ashok hands over the lunch box and a windbreaker in case it gets cold. He thanks Mrs. Lapidus. "Be good, Nikhil," he says in English. And then after a moment's hesitation, he is gone. When they are alone, Mrs. Lapidus asks, "Are you happy to be entering elementary school, Gogol?" So, the father, just before he leaves, he gives Gogol his lunch box, or as we use the word tiffin, and a windbreaker. Now, what is a windbreaker? It is a kind of a jacket because it is cold. And so he leaves, but before he leaves, you can mark that he calls him Nikhil. "Be good," he tells him. After the father leaves though, Mrs. Lapidus asks Gogol if he is happy, and she addresses him by the name Gogol. In the next para 26, "My parents want me to have another name in school." Who is this? This is Gogol responding for the first time to Mrs. Lapidus. And I think it is because Mrs. Lapidus addressed him by the name that he wants to be called by. So, and you can see in this first answer, as he answers, he gives a reason why why he's not happy. Because his parents want him to have another name. Para 27 to 31. And what about you, Gogol? Do you want to be called by another name? After a pause, he shakes his head. Is that a no? Mrs. Lapidus asks. He nods. Yes. Then it's settled. Can you write your name on this piece of paper? And so Mrs. Lapidus, the principal, asks Gogol to write down his name. Para 32. Gogol picks up the pencil, grips it tightly, and forms the letter of the only word he has learned thus far to write from memory, getting the L backward due to nerves. So it would have been something like this. I think he took the chalk, the pencil, and he wrote his name as he had been taught, but with the L backwards. Because I guess he was kind of nervous to do it. But Mrs. Lapidus does not point that mistake out. Para 33. What beautiful penmanship you have, Mrs. Lapidus says. She encourages him, she motivates him by giving this appreciation of his handwriting. Penmanship here refers to his handwriting. She tears up the old registration form and asks Mrs. McNabb, if you remember, Mrs. McNabb was the secretary, to type up a new one. Then she takes Gogol by the hand and they walk down a hallway with painted cement walls. She opens the door and Gogol is introduced to his teacher, Miss Watkins. Okay, so this is Gogol's teacher. A woman with hair in 2 braids, wearing overalls and clogs. Inside the classroom is a small universe of nicknames. Andrew is Andy, Alexandra, Sandy, William, Billy, Elizabeth, Lizzie. It is nothing like the schooling Gogol's parents have known. Fountain pens and polished black shoes and notebooks and good names and sir or madam at a young age. So this is Gogol entering his classroom for the first time and a brief description of how, what he sees when he enters the room and all the friends or the classmates that he meets. So as has been told, it is quite different from the schooling that Gogol's parents have known. If you remember that Gogol and his parents, they are Indian Americans. They are originally from India but settled in America. So what Gogol's parents, the experience that they had back when they were going to school and the experience that Gogol has now in his new school in America is quite different from each other. Para 34. At the end of his first day, he is sent home with a letter to his parents from Mrs. Lapidus, explaining that due to their son's preference, he will be known as Gogol at school. What about their parents' preference? Shima and Ashok wonder, shaking their heads. But since neither of them feels comfortable pressing the issue, they have no choice but to give in. So from this para, we can see that Gogol had his way, because that is what he wanted. He wanted to retain his name, Gogol. He did not want the name that his parents wanted him to have in school, Nikhil, and Mrs. Lapidus, the principal, allows him to continue his schooling as Gogol. And she even writes to the parents, informing them that he will be known as Gogol in school. And the parents also, they accept it. Para 35. And so Gogol's education begins. At the top of sheets of scratchy pale yellow paper, he writes out his pet name again and again, as well as the alphabet in capitals and lowercase. So what is this lowercase? Small letters are referred to as lowercase. And capital, of course you know, capital letters, on the other hand, is also known as uppercase. So different way of, writing the alphabet. If you all remember when you were in nursery, you had to learn your alphabet, learn to write it in capital letters and small letters. And that's what Gogol also did. He learns to add and subtract and to spell his first words. On the front covers of his textbooks, he writes his name in pencil. In art class, his favorite hour of the week, he carves his name with paper clips into the bottoms of clay cups and bowls. He pastes uncooked pasta onto cardboard and leaves his signature in fat brush strokes below paintings. So we can see that Gogol is learning many new things, and not only reading and writing, not only addition and subtraction, but also doing different types of activities. And it seems that his favorite class is art work, in art class. Okay? And then the last paragraph, para 36. Day after day, he brings his creations home to Ashima, his mother, who hangs them proudly on the refrigerator door. Gogol'S, he signs his work in the lower right-hand corner, as if there were a need to distinguish him from any other Gogol in the school. So it seems that he is very happy to be in school, and every day when he comes back home from school, he brings home whatever he has done for the day, and his mother is also very happy to put them up on to hang them up on the refrigerator door. And another point to be noted is that whatever he brings home, he signs them with his name, Gogol'S, as if he wants to make sure that people know him for who he is particularly. Okay, remember that his surname is Ganguly. So Gogol'S here refers to Gogol Ganguly. As if there are other, and if there's any other Gogol in the school, they would not mistake him for that other, but they're sure to know that it is Gogol Ganguly. So here ends the story of Gogol's first day. Now, we have come to the end of this story. I want you to read it on your own. And if you remember, I have told you that this is taken from another novel. It's a novel actually called The Namesake by Jhumpa Lahiri. If you can get hold of the novel, you can read it yourself, because the story of Gogol is told in this novel up to the time when he grows up, he becomes an adult, and all the experiences that he faces, okay, in his life. Secondly, I would like you to mark the words and phrases that are given in the textbook, and you can go through the meanings, because it is important to learn the words and phrases, and especially those that are not used, we don't use usually, so that you can understand it in the context of the story. Thirdly, I would like to give you a project to do at home. Now that you are home and you have a lot of time on your hands, since you don't have to come to school, and so I would like to show you this wristband that I have. It is made by one of your classmates, Rishita, whom we also call as Tanu. She has made this from old yarn. That is, we usually call wool, but it's not wool, it's yarn. She has unraveled it from some old sweaters, and she has spent her time making different types of bracelets. So this is an example of taking something that would be discarded and not useful and making it into something nice and beautiful. So for the project, which will be worth 10 marks, I have given a theme. And the theme of the project is From Trash to Treasure. Find something in your house that is just lying around, going to waste, because it is not safe for you to go out too much to buy things. And also the idea is to make something beautiful out of something that is a waste or something that would be thrown in the dustbin or just lying there uselessly. So on the theme From Trash to Treasure, I want you to make something. When school reopens, you will bring it, whatever it is. Okay? Bring it and you will present it in the class so that we can all see how you have, used your time and what beautiful things you can make, because I'm sure there are many of you who are very talented. And we will have a good time together. So we have come to the end of this class, and in the next class we will be going to the next story that is called The Last Lesson by Alphonse Daudet. And then after that we will be doing a poem by Rabindranath Tagore called Where the Mind is Without Fear. So thank you, children. Be safe, stay safe.
Stay home, stay safe.
Do it for self.
Do it for your family. Do it for India.
Let's break the chain of COVID-19.
हम होंगे कामयाब, जय हिंद। हम होंगे कामयाब, जय हिंद।
हम होंगे कामयाब, जय हिंद।